Okay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Void Jumpers. It's Wednesday, my favorite Wednesday of the week. I've missed you all terribly. Thanks for joining us. We're starting a brand new arc today, Silva Celestial, a.k.a. The Malice. We'll be playing this game. It's Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. It's pretty sweet. We focus on character and narrative on this show, which if you've been watching, you realize we also make up a bunch of our own shit. I think that's it for me. Let's bring in the crew. What's up, everybody?
What up?
What's up?
What up?
Hi.
It's been forever.
It's been
Feels
a
like
while.
it's been like a month.
I was so excited all day because I was like, oh, we all get to hang out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, been about 1,000 years.
Anybody according to plan, this is our penultimate arc. Second to last. So shit's gonna get real.
So only like another 4 or 5 months of Void Jumpers.
Hardly any time at all.
Hardly any time at all.
We're gonna really have to stretch out our bullshitting before we get playing to like really just stretch it out.
Stretch it out, you say.
Stretch it out.
Stretch it out? What does that even mean?
Like taffy.
Hang on, I'll go get my dictionary and define it for you.
Okay.
Okay, enough stretching out the bullshit, everybody.
Did anybody have? Were you about to ask a question there, Connor? Before I jumped all over you.
Yeah, it was probably like, what are we doing tonight? How's this going?
We're starting a new arc.
That's cool.
Let's get into it. Trent, I'm going to kick it over to you before we do for a little democracy corner.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're so glad to have you all here, whether you're watching with us right now or you're catching up with us later. So there's been a lot going on in the last few weeks, and surprise, surprise, the police have not responded to the conviction of Derek Chauvin with lessened brutality to the citizens of this country. So we still have a lot of work to do. One resource that I was recently reminded of that I would like to share with you is a website called Don't Call the Police, which is a city-by-city resource that is constantly expanding, but it lists resources available in cities that you can call for help instead of calling the police. And the reason in particular that I'd like to highlight that one today, and I just dropped it in the chat, you can find it by searching Don't Call the Police, but it's also handily, the website is don'tcallthepolice.com. Yes, thank you. I do think I have adorable hairs at the moment as well. There was a couple weeks ago, a man by the name of Mario Gonzalez was murdered in Alameda by the police. And the reason I'm dropping this resource in particular is because 911 was called on him because some white people, and to quote the 911 call, he doesn't seem to be bothering anyone, but my wife is a little bit worried. So don't call the police. There are so many other resources available that can do so much less harm and hopefully will lead to fewer deaths in our country. So if you find yourself in those situations, please assess the situation around you and try and use any alternative you can before calling the police, is my personal viewpoint. Also to that end, Jesse talks a lot about book club on this show. If anyone there's a book that I recently just purchased that is on sale, 40% off, but only until tomorrow. So if anyone buys this book tonight or tomorrow and wants to read it with me, you get an ebook right away. So we can even get started right away if you want to. It is by an incredible organizer and educator named Miriam Kaba. It's a really good book. I'm itching to get into it. I'm very excited about it. It's called, I will drop the link for it right here, and it's called We Do This Till We Free Us. And again, 40% off, but only through tomorrow. So order it today and then talk to me. And if you want to do a book club, we'll do a book club. So yeah, if that does sound like fun to you, drop that in the chat. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Discord. I'll try and remember to check my messages. But I'm really excited about this book, and I would love to read it with some other people who are really excited about it too. And 40% off. Like, who knows me knows that I can't resist a book that's like on super sale. So,
Books.
Sales.
Book sales.
Thank you, Trin. All right. Let's let the recap roll.
Bookmarks.
Shut it. Sorry, man.
Have you made any discoveries in terms of harnessing and storing elemental energies which are unknown to the inhabitants of our reality?
Okay, I don't know half of what you just said.
What happened at the last shore research facility on the water planet?
I saved the world.
How?
You're welcome.
Tag. Define your connection to the summoner.
She's great.
What are its limits?
Its limits?
Usage? Like we don't mess with each other when we're going to the bathroom?
Of your staff in typical summoning fashion is that chameleon, and then sitting atop it holding the reins and a jousting pole is Cenac, and he lifts up the visor and he's like, "What's up, y'all? Name Gilvia Corgold. She has business ingratiating herself and hopefully obtaining a seat on the Summoner Council because she is a summoner."
From where?
The company.
What a treat. What an absolute treat.
Meow, 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 meow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, we are going to start now. I just want to say thanks, Sue, for this next bit. Bryn,
Yeah.
you're standing backstage with your mother. From where you are, you can see that the stage is in fact empty. There are no instruments, no musicians, nothing, and no one. From the other side of the curtain, there is the murmur of a... You've got just a few seconds here, but your mother looks to you and says, "New Age flautists."
Apparently, that's all the rage over in the desert.
Interesting.
I just thought I'd shake it up a little bit. I mean, we normally have the Royal Orchestra, and maybe me coming in as a new era, I would bring in a new band.
I think it's a wonderful idea, Bryn, but New Age flautists.
Just, kind of rhythmic, I guess. It's cool.
Indeed. When the curtain rises, you see the amphitheater cut into the cliffs, red rock walls and spires. Thousands have gathered to celebrate your coronation. A spotlight clacks on, illuminating an empty patch of stage. But it doesn't stay empty for long. A trapdoor slides open and a microphone rises to view. Your mother... "My people," she says, her voice carried to the back row by an impressive sound system. "My lovely people, what a day it has been. Thank you all for welcoming my daughter with open hearts and open arms, and for being here on this very special day." From there, she goes on a bit, Bryn, singing your praises, but you would have a moment right now if you'd like to do anything.
I'd like to go talk to the band, please.
Okay. You head towards the back of the stage, and there is a trap door which you can lift and walk down some stairs into the section beneath the stage.
I walked over there.
Okay. Nobody's here to hassle you. You, as of today, have been named the heir to the summoner of the planet. So you kind of have free reign while your mother is distracted with a speech.
And I walk up to the lead person of the band and I tap him on the shoulder.
I will hand over the baton here.
Hello, love. Congratulations. What a big day. I'm so honored that it's what's the word? Invited us to play.
I'm so honored you said yes.
Okay, well, that makes for two people who are pretty... I do not know how this guy talks anymore.
Welcome to my life.
Two pretty fucking honored people.
So everything is good. Everything's set. The crowd is there. There's just one minor detail I forgot to leave out.
Okay, and that is...
I told my mom that you guys were a new age flute ensemble.
Okay, that's really funny.
I'm not kidding. She really wouldn't have gone for the whole death metal thing, so I kind of had to lie, and I thought she'd forget about it, but she brought it up just about a minute ago. So, do you know any new age flute songs?
That seems secondary to the consideration of, do I have any fucking flutes?
I didn't think about that.
Do I know how to play the flute?
Shoot.
Shoot, indeed.
Could you do at least some new age type music?
Love, you are soon to be summoner of the planet. I don't ever want to say no to you, but this is what I think we would call a pickle.
Okay.
So,
Let's...
it's okay. We're going to figure this out. This is not going to be nearly as bad as the tour of 10 years ago when Simon got a little... well, never mind.
Do you have any gentle songs?
We've got gentle songs. Casey, you want to start working on the title of our gentlest tune? Let's have it.
I'm one step ahead. I'm ready for you.
Let's hit it, baby.
Melancholy reigns unbroken.
Well, yeah, we can always play Melancholy Reigns Unbroken, but, you know.
That sounds lovely. That's perfect. Let's go with that.
Okay. Can I just, this is just a curiosity. I suppose this isn't solution-oriented speaking, but you told your mother that you were going to dismiss the Royal Orchestra and switch it up with something new. So what? I'm not sure I understand what the lie was all about. Why the flutes?
Well, it had to be a soft lie, because if I told her you guys were coming, she'd ask how I knew about your music, and then she'd find out that I snuck out to your concert. So I did a soft lie.
Okay.
And thought I'd figure it out later. I sort of panicked. I just really wanted you guys to perform.
No, this is actually, I mean, if anything says I'm a fan of your music, it's I invited you to be part of the royal coronation knowing you were a death metal troupe, and this is a ceremony by which I am inducted to be the next summoner of the entire fucking planet. So I do appreciate it. You're committed to the music.
I am. And I figure if things go a little bit haywire, I'll just start doing some fire pyrotechnics and try to distract.
Darling, I would love to do a little pingo pango with the fire pyrotechnics and whatever, you know, the flouting we do.
Thank you, Mr. Pervert.
We've got you covered. I actually stopped where you can call me whatever you want.
At that moment, a stagehand does stoop down into the door and say, Summoner Cossaint, your mother does seem to be wrapping up.
Okay. Well, break legs.
Okay.
See you in a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I apologize in advance. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Woo.
As you climb back up onto the stage, Bryn, you hear your mother say, And tonight, a special request from Bryn Cossaint herself. Heir apparent of fire, we have one final performance, but I'll let Summoner Cossaint explain. Bryn, and she beckons to you to join her on stage.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming.
There's Wow, we love you, Bryn. Wow.
I hope to make all of you proud one day, and I promise to work super hard at my fire spells and get good grades in school, continuing education, because that's important. I thought I would.
We love education. Wow.
Woo, learning.
I'm like vibing on this a little bit. I'm like, okay, cool. So I thought I would change things up a little bit with the music. I know we're really used to the Royal Orchestra, but I am a new generation coming in, and I thought I would usher in some new music. So we have got a very exciting group of new age flute ensembles that forgot their flutes, but they're going to improvise, and it should be really spectacular. I hope you'll give them a chance. Thank you very much.
There's some applauding, but it's a little bit less enthusiastic. There's one guy in the back who's like, still excited, but everybody else is like laughing. As you finish your speech, the spotlight dims and red lights flutter above the thick, dry ice fog which pours out of unseen vents. Several more trapdoors slide open, and the band rises up to the stage. Herbert, take it away.
I think they're all like, they all have, like this conversation just happened minutes ago. They're still like, they have their guitars on them. One dude is behind a giant drum set. There's like a dude's wearing his skull mask, Simon. And so Herbert, rises with them, and there's just sort of a moment's pause, and the perfunctory, that word never means what I think it means, but the necessary, the like feedback noise happens. And he grabs the mic and he goes, okay, Fire Planet, what the fuck is up? I mean, how are you? I mean, it's good. Coronation is good. Everyone
Still excited.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's hear it for, I heard something about education, learning things. We all love to learn, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, love the enthusiasm. So yeah, of course. So we are the flame flutes, the flaming flutes. As your summoner said, we no flutes today. Obviously, it's a sacred day. You can't bring flutes to a coronation because that would be inappropriate. So we're gonna do a little song called "Melancholy Reigns Unbroken."
Woo!
Okay, it's starting to sound sarcastic in the back. Please, just a little bit of self-awareness, please. And I think he looks to Bryn. Are we sharing the stage, Bryn?
I think I'm off to like the side, kind of like I'm on the stage, but I'm off over to the side and kind of my own little baby spotlight.
Okay, cool.
How uncomfortable.
Okay. So you're So you're a fire summoner now, not a person you're going to summon. You're going. Fucking hell! I can't do this anymore. And he just like throws the mic down. Yeah, just he realizes he needs it still to sing, so he like runs over, picks it up again, and he's like, "Okay, seesaw tranquility on 3. Bring, get the fuck over here."
Okay.
She scampers out.
And he just like puts an arm around her, and he's like, "Listen, there's something to be said for authenticity. And this young woman here is going to be the most honest, full of integrity, authentic summoner I've ever seen on the Fire Planet. So for that reason and no other, I'm going to give it up full heart, full body for her. Bryn, let's rock and fucking roll." And I think he like rips off his shirt and he has Bryn's face, but as like a cat sort of tattooed on his chest.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
But in a good way. In a good way.
He's trying, he's a sweet guy, but he doesn't know any better. And so he just like lays down a thunderous opening chord, and all the folks in the booth, they get it. They've been, like we brought our own techies, and so the lights switch. Suddenly it's all lit from the bottom, spotlight coming up through the fog. It's kind of giving us this like skeletal, ghostly look on our faces, and it just reverberates out, and the drummer starts. It's just this very like thick molasses grunge of noise, and it just kind of like starts shaking, and the crowd is a little looking like the dude who's cheering in the back. His little jaunty cap is just kind of like slowly bouncing off his head. And he just looks to Bryn and he's like, "I'm really sorry about ruining the gag there, but I just, I don't, to be honest, think that you're a new age flautist ensemble kind of summoner."
I'm not. And I really appreciate you for seeing the true heart of me as death metal.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more. We've got a little bit. He's like, they're like speaking under the thunderously low reverberations. They're like really slow rolling this intro. And he's like, "Look, of course you want to honor tradition. I fucking love tradition, but you got to honor yourself as well."
That's right. And I look over at my mom just to gauge her reaction.
She's not made up her mind yet. She's just kind of on the edge of the stage. She's in the wings, watching what's going on. And because it's just this like epic, slow build of an intro, she doesn't quite know what's going on.
Okay, look, HP. I'm going to get in trouble any way we look at this. So let's make it the most epic performance because it's just not going to matter.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. I get my fire hands ready.
Okay. And it just starts, we just start like above that, like thunderous, we do the little like, we start adding that kind of high arpeggio. The drummer's like starting to heat up.
Throwing fire to match the beat, and it's pulsing with it.
Yeah.
At this point, the crowd's going nuts. I think that you get through an entire song. And when you look back over to the side of the stage, Bryn, you see that your mother is actually walking out onto stage as the next song starts. And as there's the big chord that gets hit, she just like lifts her staff into the air and it just explodes in this huge swirl of fire that turns into this like swarm of flaming bats that just, like crash over the audience and start firing. And she just has a good time, I think, playing opposite you as just like casting this huge display of fire as Herbert Pervert and the gang slay the coronation. I think that the show would go over very well. There would be no trouble for you, Bryn. It's your coronation. You obviously chose this for a reason, and your mother respects that. Unless there's any other part of the performance you'd like to share with us, Herbert, I think Bryn would have a moment backstage before the two of you get to say a farewell.
Yeah. I mean, if you're, freeing me from making up a fire coronation song on the spot, I will.
I will take that. I will take that mantle as the bass player behind Herbert Pervert.
Wearing the big
I'll
skull?
take a stab at it. Wearing the skull.
Please do.
All right. So I think the surprisingly most Bryn's mother's favorite song, as well as the crowd favorite, was called "Thou Art Perished." And some of the lyrics go, "Darkness in my blood, ashes of a world in mourning, I am the void.
Darkness in my blood, ashes in the morning, I am void. And then I don't, I am void. And then it was just a young fire, someone else.
Go to bed. Wow, that was really satisfying.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so during Thou Art Perished, you are able to sneak off stage as your mother's just really getting into it. It's like a display of magic that you haven't seen since you were young. You can tell that she's on the edge of losing control because there's just like the sky has now turned red. There's like these rolling black clouds as she's just like, you know, creating this firestorm above everyone's heads. There's no injuries. Nobody gets hurt, but it's like everybody's sweating now because of how hot it is. And it's just this fucking maelstrom of flames. You're able to sneak off to get a little glass of water. And when you exit the stage during the song, Bryn, you do see Gwenig waiting for you off stage with a small box that's wrapped in turquoise tissue paper.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that my mom is actually getting into it?
This is crazy. This is so crazy.
It's insane. I mean, I thought I was going to go sour when, the lie I told was terrible, obviously. But it turned out okay. And I think maybe she'll start letting me introduce some more modern things.
Fingers crossed. Bryn, you are a horrible liar. And so if I could give you any advice on this, the day of your coronation, it would be to maybe just stick to the truth.
Okay, I'll try. What is that? What is that box?
This is your present. You've been so busy all day going from one event to the next, I haven't had a chance, but I got him to let me in backstage. And she holds up a badge that is your badge. She says, I stole this from you last night. So they let me in. And she hands you this little present.
You got me a present? You have to give me a present. Okay. Do you want me to open it here?
Yes, dummy.
Fine. Okay, I open it.
Inside the box, there is just a very simple chain. And on it, there's 3 little charms. One of them is, what's the name of Herbert Pervert's band?
The Flame Boys.
The Flame Boys, that's right. It's just a little charm that has a flame with a silhouette of each of the band members kind of in the heart of the flame. And then the next one is just a little moped. And then the third one is a crown. And she says, this is just a little way for us to keep track.
I just absolutely hug her and kiss her.
She kisses you and hugs you back. She also realizes that it's your big celebration. So you can see that she's trying to like make this a quick moment so as not to intrude. What do you want to say?
Can you meet me tonight at 11?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know I can't talk very much right now because things are all crazy, but I'll try telling a not bad lie to get away for a little bit, and I'll meet you at 11.
Mm-hmm. For being so normal, Bryn, you have a very crazy life.
I know. It's okay, though. It could be worse. And hopefully things won't get too crazy now that I had the coronation. I don't know that my responsibilities will get, unmanageable. I still think I'll still have freedom. I hope.
I'll be here.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I'm going to keep this badge. Otherwise, I might get arrested for being back here.
Yes, please keep the badge. And then go watch our closing performance. And I'll be sending out little fire messages for you.
She gives you another little smooch, and then she scampers away. As you turn around to go back to the stage, you hear this gigantic explosion, Bryn. And when you're running back to the stage, your mother's actually walking off the stage, and her staff has exploded. And she's just like, God damn it, this is like the 5th one this week. And she tosses it aside and marches back. That's all I had for this. I figured that there would maybe be a final number and then perhaps a moment with Herbert before we depart.
Yeah.
Casey, what's our final song?
Oh, obviously you guys are going to close Through the Endless Dark, which has a 17-minute guitar solo in it at one point that is considered one of heavy metal's greatest contributions, in that it mirrors the melody that Herbert Pervert starts and closes with. And when he comes back in, you realize he's like, goes an octave even above what you thought was possible, so that it harmonizes in a way where you're like, oh, yeah. But it's, lyrics like, through the shattered palace of my soulless remains, I was vanquished by your
sword through
faithless love that pulled me into the darkest layer of delight.
That pulled me to the darkest layer.
Yeah, and then there's they argue that Herbert sort of reinvented the like demonic metal growl, because instead of it being toneless, he was able to bring a like this demonic melody line into like it's somewhere between like Tuvin throat singing and metal. So it really.
Can we hear that, Herbert?
Yeah, I think that the best way to do that, honestly, is to get everyone involved in some way.
Mm-hmm.
What's the line?
What's up?
What's the line? Wait.
I think it's just a tone.
Growl, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're going to need some highs and some lows. I'll go low.
How's that?
That was great. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Alrighty.
You want to sort of conduct us, Casey?
Oh yeah. All right. So let's just go ahead and Trin, you're going high. Connor, you're going low. Lisa, you're going to do like a sine wave. So it's like you should be just up and down.
Okay.
Jesse, you're going up and down the other way, and
Okay.
I'm gonna go like a growl just diagonal across. Just
Okay.
All right, and we're just gonna do it in 5/8 time. So,
And the intention is essentially like as if summoning the demon horde to carry Bryn on her throne of fire.
correct. Don't worry about the tone as much as the imagery of these. The Flame Boys are rocking so hard in hell with Bryn that the demons stop worshiping Satan and go to this rock concert instead, because it's more fun.
I think as we do it, here's what I'll suggest for a visual, that it really like through Bryn's own conjuration or her mother's, or just sort of the coterie of fire summoning appendages, the various viziers and advisors and whoever, we do conjure this throne of flame that lifts Bryn up and kind of carries her up and out through the gorge. And it hits a frequency that all the Sammy snakes in the kingdom just kind of like pop up out of their holes.
They spiral out.
Yeah, start flying around everywhere. It just sort of like pings on a frequency that activates all of the fire planet.
Okay.
Cool.
Bring us in.
All right, on the downbeat of 5, yeah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Wait. 1, 2, 1.
They
We're
go.
just holding a
And-
note.
And go.
And Fred coasts into the sky as the snakes are spiraling about her. And that concludes our story time for Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
You are the journey through the endless dark. Thank you.
That's one of my favorite perks. Are these little flat? Oh wait, do we talk about our new perks? We have some new perks, right?
Lisa, Bryn,
Yeah, we do have 3 new perks. So, I think it's for $10. You can choose pay a compliment, and you have to make one character compliment another character, either us or NPC in character. So it has to be a paid compliment. It could be awkward, it could be sweet, it could be whatever you request. And then we have 0G. So if you purchase that perk, the whole scene goes into 0 gravity and we start floating around everywhere, regardless if we're in battle or not. And then we've got summon e-news reporter, basically, named Ichabod Isildur. Did I get that right?
Isildur.
Isildur.
What do you do on Thanksgiving if not watch all 3 Lord of the Rings extended
I've
chapters?
just watched all 3 Lord of the Rings, but there's a lot of names in it.
That's right. Sorry, I didn't.
And Jesse, you want to talk about this reporter? What this reporter does?
I think that they're they're covering the Summoner Council meeting. You know, they're a bit sensational. It's kind of like a red carpet tone in the wrong forum.
Yeah, so those are our 3 new perks.
Yeah, they'll come in and insist on getting the scoop from our party members, either during or following a scene.
To be fair to Lisa, Isildur isn't one of the primary characters in Lord of the Rings. He mostly appears in the Silmarillion and is the human dude at the beginning who refuses to throw the ring into Mount Doom at the beginning. So just to be fair, he's a more ancillary dude, you know. So, you know, it's not like
And a traitor to Middle Earth.
Cast it into the fire.
Look, I did The Hobbit when I was in high
Afraid
school,
of the Middle Earth.
so
He
I'm very
exposed the
familiar with
fall.
that one.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'm just imagining Rex trying to compliment people. I think that will be very funny.
It's just
I think we all are.
Should be great.
Okay. We're going to jump back into regular time. Why don't you roll your premonition dice there, Tag?
I will. That's a 10.
Will you please read me what that gives you?
At the start of each mystery, roll plus magic. On a 10, you get a detailed vision of something bad that's yet to happen. You take +1 to prevent it coming true, and mark experience. If we don't really do that part, but you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen.
Okay. You are asleep in your quarters on Haven, Tag, and you have a dream. You are in a dark place. You can see that there is a faint gray light coming from above, though it seems to be speckled as though through canopy, even though you can see no canopy nor any source for this light. You do have the impression that there is a presence in the darkness around you, though you cannot locate it until you see movement in one of these patches of gray light. And you see what at first looks to be like a face from your past. One of your friends, Chase, from the Monastery, who leans into the light. But when you turn to get a better look, you can actually see that it's a skull staring out from you, which fades back into the darkness. And then as you turn again, as you see movement entering into the light, you see violet at first, except when you turn, you see again that it is a skull looking out at you. And as you continue to spin around to find these faces that are remembered from your past, every time you turn, you see that it is in fact a skull, until you wake up in your quarters and see that you were in a dark room expecting to see more skulls around you, but you are alone.
That was not only a frightful premonition, but a handy refresher of my friends from the monastery.
Violet met an unfortunate end.
Did she didn't, right? She just failed her final test and did not ascend to parallel.
But dying?
Did she die?
I think she died, man.
Oh, man. Okay, that's rough. That's rough, buddy.
I know. Your journey thus far has been uneventful. It will not take you long to reach Silva Celesso. Haven is at your disposal. Are there any scenes you'd like to see during your brief stint of travel? We have several NPCs on board. I'd be happy to refresh your memory. We also have several locations on board if you'd like to do any preparation or just item creation. Otherwise, once you guys are satisfied, we will be landing on Silva Celesso.
Yeah, I want to spy on this so-called summoner.
Okay. Will you please just set up the scene here? It can be anywhere you'd like on the ship.
I think I walk past the library and I see her chatting it up with the librarian there. And
Okay.
I just try to walk in and nonchalantly grab a book and sit behind a table like this with it and hope nobody sees me so I can hear what they're saying.
Okay. Roll Dex.
Oh, I got to get into
There.
this. I'm not used to this system. 8, 9.
Okay. They see you come in. You are not sneaky, but they don't pay you much mind. They are discussing. What would they be discussing? Saren Telf is the name of the librarian, and I believe she talks like this. And Gilvia Corgold is the summoner. They're sitting having a rather open discussion at one of the larger tables in the library. And they're actually discussing the Summoner Council. Gilvia is asking Saren about the Summoner Council. And as you listen, you can tell that she's actually not asking about the contemporary Summoner Council. She's asking for any references that Saren has to the earliest Summoner Councils that she can get. And Saren actually does have, as we've discussed, a collection of strange old books on the shelf, which in and of themselves are rare. And she is paging through them, bringing up different times in which the summoner meetings were noteworthy. They happen infrequently, but not rarely, and not always to discuss the most important things. Sometimes it's just administrative. Sometimes it's to name new summoners. Sometimes it's to establish trade routes, et cetera, et cetera. But Gilvia keeps saying, yes, but do you have anything earlier than this? Anything earlier than this? And continuing to ask about earlier and earlier and earlier.
Okay. After hearing this, I'm going to walk over there and say, pardon me, Gilvia. Captain Matt Vansel would like to talk to you.
Oh. Excellent. Thank you, Summoner Cosaint. And she stands and leaves.
You said it was Saren?
Saren.
Yeah. Okay, Saren. I don't know if you know, but that is a made summoner by the company, which I didn't even know was possible. Do you have any books on that? Like, how do you make a summoner? I didn't think you could do that. I thought summoners were born. It was inherited.
Wow. This is all incredibly startling there, summoner. I'd be happy to help you look for something. As far as I know, there's never been a summoner that's been made before. Roll lore with a +1 because you're in the library being assisted.
12.
Fucking forget about it. Fucking forget about it. Saren goes to the shelf and starts to look at a section that is relatively well preserved. In fact, they look like newer editions. She's got like the original texts, but then newer editions that you can see has the company's publishing on there, and it's all about magic manifesting in people, summoner lines, and you have this in front of you. So you can ask me 3 questions about anything in particular, and I will just answer them.
Is a factory-made summoner as powerful as a born summoner?
What delicious flourishes of the tongue so as to betray Bryn's own agenda asking these questions.
There is no reference in any of the literature, which seems to be rather comprehensive on the subject, pending any secret research, of there ever having been a summoner created outside of the order of the regular order of establishing the council summoners.
Would somebody then need a magical artifact or item to funnel that magic to themselves?
Yeah. So you see reference to non-summoner magic users, and they manifest in slightly less powerful but more obscure ways. And these people usually end up becoming parallels. They're in tune with the phase state and magic. There are instances, however, and this is something that you're kind of drawing off of what the professor did, in which people have tried to imbue themselves with magic. There is a reference actually to Slokta the Insidious in this tome, in which Slokta, somehow being a regular summoner, was able to achieve lichdom by a series of rituals that were based on enchanted and corrupt and cursed artifacts. So there is historical reference to people funneling magic from things into other things, but there doesn't seem to be much success for like a baker trying to go and become a summoner.
Okay, and my last question, is there any information on this imposter? I mean, what's her name?
Gilvia?
Gilvia. Yes, is there any information on who she is?
No.
Prior to being
Saren,
a summoner.
Saren would say that there wouldn't be anything in the tomes, but she'd be happy to look into the company database. And so she takes you over to her desk, and there's just a terminal there where she can access, archives. She has a very relatively low clearance, but she can pull up personnel files. And you can see that Gilvia Corgold was someone before this, but they are listed as a consultant and liaison, and most recently an ambassador in the employ of the company.
Looks to Captain Matt Vansel, hashtag not bad.
What happened?
$10. I think
Rips
$10.
to Captain Matt Vansel, hashtag not
Rex
bad.
to Captain Matt Vansel.
I think we'll do that scene next. Okay, yeah, we'll do that scene next, Rex. Yeah, so that's what you find out, that she was not originally a company employee, but more of a consultant until recently when she became an ambassador for the company. She was born on Void, grew up there, went to school there, went to an expensive school. She seems to have just had your usual, though slightly upper crust upbringing.
Okay. Okay, that gives me enough to go on. Thank you so much. If you see anything that's really weird or strange or out of place with her, can you let me know?
Sure. I just got to let you know there, Summoner. Pretty much everything I see is weird and out of place anymore.
That's true. But I mean extra weird.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Rex, you're walking down the hall when around the corner comes a rather handsome and charming captain, Matt Vansel. And he says, "Oh, hey, Rex, I didn't see you there."
Hello, Captain. I noticed you diverted some of the energy from our plasma guns to give us an extra boost. That was pretty good thinking.
He clutches his chest and goes to brace himself on the wall. And he says, "Rex, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me."
I don't know if that's more embarrassing for you or for me.
For me.
Good talk.
And he gives you a small salute and continues on his way. Any other scenes that the party would like while on Haven?
I think I would follow Bryn during her previous adventure.
Mm-hmm.
She's been acting a bit strange, and it's not that I'm suspicious of her. It's just wondering to what extent she's emotionally compromised by this summoner. So I guess it's not really a scene that needs to be played as much as an observation of her slightly more unscrupulous behavior in regards to Gilvia. So just sort of acknowledging that may have been observed by Sam.
Sure, yeah. Do you want to try and be sneaky about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Bryn, do you want to contest that?
What do you mean? Like...
if you don't, then it passes the narrative test. Sam spies on you and gets away with it. If you'd like to try and catch him, we're going to have you both roll some dice. Or maybe just Sam.
Catch him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam, please roll plus dex.
7.
As you are leaving the library, Bryn, you see Sam has been back behind one of the shelves and he is nose deep in a book.
Oh, Sam. Psst.
Oh, hi, Bryn.
Hi. Were you over here spying on Gilvia too?
No. Just catching up on. I lift up the book and read it for the first time. Just catching up on my horticulture.
Oh. Yeah, and I hold up my book and I'm like, yeah, I was just kidding. I was just here for these books. It's fine. You know, I got a little.
What books are you holding, Bryn?
What books am I holding? Whatever Saren gave me. It was.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you got History of Summoners.
History of the Company, Volume 28.
Just for the sake of transparency, I have to say it seems as though. And likely, rightfully so, you seem a bit dubious of this Gilvia and her intentions.
Okay, I don't really know about her intentions, but I do know that summoner power is not to be messed with, and just throwing it on some random schmo, that's super duper dangerous. Like, you have to train your whole entire life. I had to go through so much vigorous training to learn how to control my powers. I just feel like the company is using this as a really chaotic weapon, and we should be really careful.
I agree. We should certainly be careful. I suppose my concern is far more with your emotional well-being than the actual scenario.
I think I'm okay, as long as she doesn't mess with me or my friends or the ship.
Okay, if you think you're okay, then I trust you.
I'm cool as a cucumber. I hold my hand out and it's like super steady. See?
Yeah. I'm impressed. I get a little low blood sugar sometimes and my hands are all over the place. So the fact that you could do that after blatantly lying about Captain Matt Vansel to, a company employee is pretty impressive.
It was a little lie, and it was important. You heard that? I thought you weren't listening on the conversation. I thought you were knee-deep in that book.
I was knee-deep in the book. I was just multitasking. It's such a small thing. It's such a small thing. Most likely unfounded concern about your integrity, which is your own affair entirely.
My integrity? What's wrong with my integrity? I want to make sure everybody is safe, and I don't trust this person.
As I said, it's likely unfounded and, probably even presumptuous or rude of me to assume that there would be some sort of compromise and, you being willing to, let's say, massage the truth and able to get what you want.
These feel like digs coated in sugar. I'm gonna go now, but don't worry, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I will be the epitome of manners around Gilvia. I'm just gonna make sure she's not gonna do anything that's going to compromise our whole mission. Also, you shouldn't call me out for lying. You've done it a whole bunch of times, Sam. And then I turn around and leave.
When you walk out into the hallway, you can see that Gilvia and Matt Vansel are, in fact, having a chat. He must have just left Rex, and he's just finished telling a joke, and she's just laughing, and they seem to be having a great time.
Sam, it all works out in the end. And then I keep walking.
Okay. Any other scenes?
I think Rex would love to spend some time with Tara.
Okay, cool. We want to set us up a little, set the stage here for us?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much straight after we've landed and docked, and I've grabbed my bag, and without really, making eye contact with anybody or talking to anybody, I just beeline for her door.
Sure.
Rap a couple times.
When it opens, Tara is standing there, and she's got two 40-ounce beers in her hand. And you can see that they're really cold. And she hands one to you.
And I take both of them. She hands me one, and then I take the other one, and I say, "You heard about Puck, huh?"
Yes.
And I set the beers down on a little side table, and I say, can we just go there? And I point to the couch. And
yeah, she follows your lead.
Yeah, and I sit down, and I just make her put her arm around me, and then I just kind of burrow into her shoulder, and we don't say anything for like a really long time.
Okay. I think that's a very sweet scene. Did you want any conversation to come out of this, or are we going to fade out on this scene as Tara just stands up for just long enough to bring your little 40s over to the coffee table and then put her arm back around you?
And then this time I pick up one of them and I pour a little bit out.
She says, for the homies.
I don't think a conversation has to come out of it. I think at some point Rex will also do a little sleuthing about Miss Gilvia. I always want to call her Lockroy because I hear Gilvia and I think Gilderoy, but that's not her name.
Yeah, sure. I think Tara gets it. She is very happy to see you, very curious as to what went down. You guys were on Void for about a week. She hasn't heard from you since, but I think that the two of you get along so well because she recognizes that there doesn't need to be conversation in order to share some of these things. And so she lets you have that. We can abstract time. Travel will take like a week-ish in real time. So it'll just be a couple days in Void Relay Jump. This is going to be one of your shorter journeys. To get from Void to Silva Celesso is not going to take as long. Usually there's like, you guys come out of Warp and it's been a month. It will only have been about a week. So you guys are going to be there for a couple days. So if you'd like to spy on Gilvia, you are welcome to as well. Tag, any requests for scenes from you?
No, none for me.
Okay. All right, Rex, how do you want to spy on Gilvia?
I was actually thinking computer sleuthing, because you did say the librarian had very low clearance, and I have much higher clearance.
You have very high clearance.
I have very high clearance.
Okay. You're still going to need 2
It's
roll for it.
hashtag not bad of Bryn to talk to 0.5 dad.
I love 0.5 dad. I'll just say that right now.
What is the stipulation here with 0.5 dad?
Bryn's gonna give him a compliment.
It's hashtag not bad of Bryn to talk to 0.5 dad.
Okay. We will do that after. Bryn, I think that you also maybe had something up your sleeve for Half Dad, which we could do on Haven, or you can wait. I'll give you a chance to mull it over. We're going to do Rex's thing first, and then we'll jump into Bryn Half Dad. Bryn 0.5
Thanks
dad.
for the tip.
Thank you for the tip.
QWERTY.
Who?
QWERTY?
QWERTY. Okay.
Right.
Rex, you're going to roll dealing with the company. That is going to be on your thing.
Do I get a plus to that?
You do. I'm just checking my notes here. It's got to be like a charm.
Oh God. You're probably right about that. Damn it.
I thought I had it in my Haven notes. It's not. We're going to go with charm.
Strength as charm?
This is one of those instances where it doesn't get to be that conversion. I think we dealt with this rather recently. It's one of the few times that that thing won't apply.
Yeah, and that's more about trying to manipulate somebody, and this seems more like a straightforward, just trying to,
I can see Trin. I'm not trying to push back, but I could see Trin just smacking the side of the computer in such a way as to jiggle that information loose.
Oh, I'm planning on giving her information. It'll just be how she obtained it.
I'm just talking.
Okay.
Don't mind.
What did you
get? If we are indeed using charm, then I have successfully leveled up.
Oh, no.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to give you what you want, and the consequence will follow after. So you get 3 questions. You use your executive clearance to get in, but you are unable to mask the trail.
Oops.
What would you like to know? You get 3 questions about Gilvia Korgold. You get the baseline stuff, no problem, that Bryn already got. So you know of her past and her positions. You can see that there is a dark zone after her ambassador promotion, in which there's the Bryn or the librarian's clearance would not access this section. It decrypts for you, so you can ask some questions here.
What was she doing after her ambassadorship?
She entered into a special program. It was a volunteer situation in which she was aware of it and volunteered to be a part of it. A special program in which the company was investigating giving people the ability to have magic. This was not a publicly advertised thing. This would have been higher level stuff. She probably didn't just find out about it. She was probably shortlisted and then given the opportunity. But you can see in the file that she volunteered for it.
And who is running this program?
That would just be a name of somebody who you would have recognized from the board. Kale's name is in there, but later, as far as like assignments go and like funding, it doesn't look like Kale had any kind of leadership in this. She would have just maybe had some administrative duties, as you know, she oversees a lot of projects. That's the only name you really recognize, but you can tell that someone on the board is in charge of this. There's actually like somebody in charge and then 2 other board names that come up.
Now, obviously, the goal of this program, it would seem, is to create people who are not summoners, but who can use summoning magic.
Mm-hmm.
To what end, as far as I can determine? And have they stopped with one? I'm going to loop this into two. This is a 2-parter.
Okay.
Or are there plenty of other volunteers out there?
It seemed like there were several other volunteers. You stumble onto this information I'm about to give you before you see to what end it was for. The information that you see is that Gilvia Corgold died during the tests.
What the fuck?
So again, like what you're looking at, if you had somebody drop this file on a secretary's desk, it would just be like full pages of redacted documents with words in. You see all of that clear. So you're just combing through what has been heavily encrypted in the past. And you just get to a place where you can see it's very dry. It's like Gilvia Corgold, her rap sheet, a summary of the project. And then at the bottom of this profile, you see like deceased, it says like training accident that you can see in quotation marks, but then it's like did not survive trials. And as you're about to like dig in to figure out to what ends they were trying to create a summoner, your little telephone thing rings. And you can see that Kale is calling you.
Fuck.
This is your 6 in action.
Hello?
Rex,
Yes.
you're snooping.
I am trying to learn as much as I can about the person that you have entrusted me to protect. That seems reasonable.
I've asked Captain Mad Vansel to give this person a ride to Silva Celesso. You happen to be on the same ship.
Are you saying that the company is not putting one of its top assets in charge of one of its other top assets? Come on, you weren't just going to turn her over to a barge vessel.
Fair. Why are you snooping, Rex?
It's frankly, granted, I've been with the company for a number of years and there have been lots of unusual situations. But having spent time with a summoner personally, I know the levels at which the training that they go through, how it's lifelong. And frankly, I'm curious as to how the company was able to achieve such success in what seems to be a very short amount of time. And I didn't want to bother you. I would have asked you, but I know that you're very busy.
Quite. This was not one of my projects. I've had a small amount of oversight because there is a bit of overlap with the professor's projects, which I have a much more hands-on time with. Some of the technologies being crossed over. Regardless, Rex, I'm going to give you some advice. Your company ID has been flagged by the board. Anytime you start snooping, we know. Unless you take measures to disguise your presence in the system or cover your tracks, we will know exactly what you're looking at. And if that ever ends up coinciding with something that we don't like, it's not going to be good. For instance, the siphon went down today, and I wouldn't want you looking into things like that on a day when something bad happens. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Rex, we don't have a mission for you right now. As an executive, you will need to get used to filling your time. Often, your contemporaries, people like Chavanaugh, would have spent this time jockeying for position or getting dirt on your rivals. That does not seem to be your cup of tea, but you are going to a very peaceful planet. Moon, I apologize, but you will see how it's easy to mistake that. I recommend that if you're not going to try and get dirt on your fellows or get a better position within the company, perhaps you just blow off some steam until we assign you something new.
Understood.
While it would be expected of you to prevent any obvious harm from befalling Gilvia Corgold, you are not explicitly assigned to her security detail.
Someone should be.
We feel that she'll be fine.
Whatever the board thinks is best, of course.
Okay. Rex, try to have some fun.
Understood.
Click.
Vomits into trash can.
Man, that was good. I was really, everything that Rex said, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to lie when you think you're right.
I bought it all. You were saying that stuff. I was like, yeah, fuck, that does make sense. Yeah, why would they do that?
Okay. Are there any?
Yeah,
we got to do.
She thought about these things before she made the call. You know, she can be very impulsive, but sometimes she does think of contingencies.
I'm not doubting.
Bryn, you are lounging in your. Actually, why don't you set the stage? Half Dad's gonna just appear. Where do you want this to happen?
We'll just be in my quarters reading these really boring books.
Okay. You just get the impression that there's somebody reading over your shoulder. And when you turn around, it is Half Dad.
Privacy? Hello?
Yes, I apologize.
Like, I'm just in like a nightgown and I grab my robe and I'm just like, and you would be, something real bad would happen to you if we were on my planet. You just barged into my quarters.
I've no doubt. I've heard that you're researching the early summoner councils.
I'm researching the earlier Well,
I've flagged some of the items on this ship with a magical enchantment, and when they're interacted with, I'm alerted. I can't tell exactly who did, but I don't know why anyone else on the ship would be looking into early summoner councils.
You know, if we're going to discuss this, I would rather do it over drinks. Can you actually drink liquids?
I can create a corporeal form in this vessel, but it will leave me rather vulnerable. Therefore, I will need something from you as a sort of insurance policy.
Sure. What would you like as an insurance policy?
I will hold on to your staff. To be clear, when I disappear, I could very easily take it with me and throw it into the tar pits on my home dimension. So if there's any funny business, Summoner, your staff will go bye-bye.
Let me tell you, if you take my staff, I will hunt you till the ends of my day. Okay. Fine. And I go to the cupboard and that's like just kind of tipped against it. And so I hand it to him. Like, here you go.
He comes out of this like strange, wavering, ghost-like image of himself that you guys often see when he just pops in for a chat and assumes that much more substantial presence, which you've seen when you've met him in the Malice or had to deal with him face to face in more dire circumstances here. He just is there. And you can see, we had a moment of this a long time ago. There is a tether on him that seems to be peeling off into what would be a very small rift in Haven. It's like he's unable to fully release himself from the Malice. So he's just tethered, and he takes your staff, and he looks at it and he says, "It's nice. Yeah, very nice."
If you were human, you would not make a horrendous looking person.
I'm not human.
Good thing you aren't. There's my compliment. I'm gonna go grab some fire whiskey, and I grab 2 glasses and I pour the fire whiskey, and I very, very sneakily grab the truth serum. Thank you, chat. And I slip it into his cup.
Yeah, chat.
I had a feeling. I have not prepared anything, so I will just give you the benefit of a honest encounter with Half-Dad. I don't know what you're going to ask, and I'll just answer it to the best of my knowledge. Okay, yeah. He takes the cup and takes a sip and says, "I do not understand much about humanity, but I do understand their affinity for whiskey."
Makes everything just a little bit brighter. Just a little bit. So, why'd you come in here today?
Oh, it's as I said. Once I learned in particular that the early summoner councils were being researched, I couldn't help myself. I'm rather fond of that time period, you might say.
Do you find yourself threatened by the company?
I didn't until they managed to hook up that device to our rift. That was quite the curveball, and it has since put me on edge when dealing with them. It seems that they are just as surprising as you lot.
Yes. Can you, I have a question. You keep getting referred to as Half-Dad. Do you consider yourself Tag's father?
As time goes on, and I am seen more through the lens that Tag places upon me, I do feel that I'm fitting that role, yes.
So you created Tag.
It is a complicated thing. I will say this. The process does not directly parallel the way in which a human being is conceived. Tag initially came from the source of the malice, as did I. But it was I who saw that he was born in the form of a human in your dimension. So in a way, I did sire him.
Okay. And as such, which most parents for their children, would you sacrifice your life for Tag?
I hope not.
So you would sacrifice Tag to save your own life?
Again, I hope not. I find that these questions are difficult to answer until Tag steps through the gateway and learns what he must learn. Until then, until I know where his heart lands, I'm finding it hard to see my own decisions.
And if Tag doesn't step through the gateway and he decides not to do that, what will you do with him?
Summoner, I would have found these questions far easier to answer when I met you for the first time. When was that?
That was back on Water Planet? Was it Water?
Maybe. It might have been earlier than that. It was not so long ago that a plan I had, set in motion thousands of years ago, finally seeing culmination through Tag. I would have said very easily that I expect Tag to embrace his destiny, do what is expected of him, so that I could overthrow the current hierarchy of magic in this system and take my rightful place as the head. But as time goes on, and as Tag's attachment to you, and therefore my attachment to you, grows, I am finding it harder to believe. I see much of myself in Tag. There was not much difference in the burden that was placed on me when I was created. And I, too, shirked that destiny and was punished for it. Banished, you might say. And so the more I push Tag, the more of my own father do I see in myself. Had you not been able to elude me for so long, I don't think I would have had time to process these feelings. And while I'm far from coming to any sort of conclusion, I do feel like there is room for change.
Do you love Tag?
Love is a new emotion, and I experience it in the way that Tag experiences it. And while I am unfamiliar, I think I qualify.
Okay. There's a summoner on board our ship who was made by the company, and it's making me incredibly uneasy.
There are... you can see Halfdad actually stands up and is looking around, and he says, "You." And then he points in what would be the direction of Tag's quarters. Tag. Then he points in the directions of what would be Sam's quarters and says, "The two have become one."
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks around and says, "There are no other magic users on this ship."
But she did magic in front of me. She made a flower and I ate it. It happened. We saw her right in front of us. She did used every element possible.
You say that she was created by the company?
Yeah.
Then there is a chance she is either using a form of magic that I cannot register, or she has learned to cloak her presence in the phase state.
Oh boy. Okay. That's a big problem. I gotta talk to Tag and Rex and Sam. This makes me really uncomfortable. She's coming with us to Silva Celesso. And my mother's there, and my mother said that she doesn't think she can leave the planet, so there's weird things going on, and I need to get to the bottom of it.
Your mother is a firecracker.
She's the best. She's the best.
You can see he's extending the staff back to you, Bryn. You put your hand on it, and he doesn't let go. And he says, "These books do not go far enough. There was a time before things were chronicled, in the time of the naming, in which the original Summoner Council convened. If I had my way, you would learn all about that. He lets go of the staff, and you can see his form kind of ripple and turn back into that incorporeal kind of ghostly version of himself, kind of ring-wraithy, and he says, be careful, Bryn.
I will.
And then he disappears. And we are going to take a quick 2-minute break.
Matt Vansel.
Does it make me magical?
Red card.
Oh no. No.
So you're out 5 minutes because you said by 5 p.m. Wait, actors are like chili. By 5 p.m. they're shit.
Fair enough. It's a fair cop.
You in.
The following is a paid advertisement.
You all had the stew?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need everybody to make an easy constitution check.
Are you kidding?
You all rolled ones. That's okay. It's just stew. They serve it at the inn all day long. No big deal.
Should be fine. Okay. What? What?
Your entire party dies of dysentery.
Gosh. We have builds that should let us survive that, but our dice betray us. I wish there were a way to show these dice what we really thought of them.
Has this ever happened to you? Your dice just hate you. You've tried everything to get them to roll well.
That's right. You can do this. Just let me know what you need. Massage, bubble bath. You could go on a date after this. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese.
Seducing.
Hey, come on, baby. Don't be like that. We're together. And the mood is right.
Reasoning.
You are a 20-sided die. The odds of rolling a 1 are 1 in 20. Now, the odds of rolling 5 ones in a row are 1 in 3.2 million. Why? Why are you sucking? Stop sucking, please.
Threatening.
Oh, really? You think I won't do it? I've done it before. I've done it before, and I'll do it to you.
And even dark offerings.
To the gods of blood, I offer you this sacrifice.
Then you need Die.Club, the ultimate in dice retribution services. Here's how it works, and some testimonials.
So the best thing about Die.Club is that they fit the punishment to the crime. For example, my rogue walking down a dungeon corridor. I roll a spot check. I roll a 1. I fail to see the gelatinous cube. I walk into it, get dissolved completely. Oh! Damn you, Die!
All I had to do was jump out of a tree. I had max ranks and tumble. I rolled a 1.
For a long time, I was just angry at the dice. I wanted to punish them, myself. But it's too hard. It hurt my hand. It hurt the tools I was trying to use. I even ate one of the die one time.
I had so many ranks in balance. So many ranks in balance. A suspension bridge over a pit of lava. I failed the roll. Obviously a 1.
So, I send my die off to Die.Club. Now my die is sitting in a jello mold in someone's refrigerator in North Carolina. Thanks, Die.Club.
Take the offending die. Place it and seal it in the provided envelope. Mail it off to Die.Club.
I put my die in an envelope and sent it off to Die.Club, and a week later I got its mangled corpse after being put through a wood chipper. Now I have time for my real friends. My Sailor Moon body pillow and I have gotten very close.
It wasn't just the feeling of satisfaction I got knowing that my die had been utterly destroyed. I got back together with my girlfriend. I got the idea to get that bike tire repair kit, and I haven't had a herpes outbreak in 5 months. Who knew how good my life could be thanks to Die.Club?
Thanks to Die.Club, I don't have to put myself in danger to put my dice in danger.
Everyone likes Die.Club.
Thanks, Die.Club.
You gave me the vengeance I was looking for. I recommend it for everyone. Die.club worked for me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
Go to die.club today. That's die.club. Hurry and visit die.club. There's nothing like the amazing new die.club. In case you missed it, that's die.club. Die.club. It's a club where die. Act now and you'll be able to visit die.club. Nothing beats the original die.club, the same reliable die.club your ancestors used. You too can visit die.club and experience the magic that is die.club. Die.club. It's your home for dice-related justice. Knock knock. Who's there? It's Die.club. Don't forget about Die.club. That name again is Die.club, spelled Die.club, and available only at Die.club.
I'm probably going to be wearing a colostomy bag the rest of my life.
Oh, that was just like, hi, what's up, chat? Trin and I are just rehashing what we learned from Kale.
I forgot everything.
Training accident would have been the official story. You know, like person is promoted, but during a training accident, they, you know, whatever. Gotcha. And so the actual story is she did not survive whatever the experiments were that she volunteered.
Very intriguing.
Isn't it? Okay. Any other scenes?
I feel like I have to tell Bryn. Rex feels like she has to tell Bryn.
Should we have a, like, everybody meets in the summoner's dorm room and sits around in a circle scene and you guys can just take it away?
Wow.
We don't have Puck's chocolate chip cookies. Oh.
Guys?
Listen, we can still be sad. We can still mourn.
Yeah,
You're not in charge of our mourning. We can still be sad.
Yeah, I'm wearing black.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're kind of like dressed. You're just in black robes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, so you're kind of dressed just like Gilvia.
Gross. No.
Do you guys remember what she looks like? She's a tall woman dressed all in black robes. They would look like tailored luxury robes of a thick fabric. She's got a shaved head.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And she's covered in tattoos that are different numbers and barcodes.
It's cool. It reminds me at first of the, what's their name? The Adjudicator from John Wick 3.
That's what I was thinking of.
Really?
Yeah.
Or like combined with Hitman, Codename 47.
Bryn, I feel like you're like the older sibling who has just gotten a new younger sibling and does not care for them.
You talking about me?
Okay, yeah, so you guys all meet in the summoner's dorm room. Take it away.
Click, click.
Boy, do I have some news.
Ooh, what's up?
Well,
Something
your dad paid me a visit.
Oh my God, that's so embarrassing.
It was so embarrassing, Tag. I was in my robe, my nightgown. I didn't have my robe on, and he just showed up.
Like creepy wise?
Yeah, it was just weird. I mean,
he wasn't creepy. But you guys can
we're gonna
take
let
care
us
if you
take
want.
care of the scene there, Jesse.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like he was pretty creepy, Bryn.
well, I mean, yes, I get that he doesn't understand the mechanics of modesty and human behavior, but it was creepy, and I told him that if he was on my planet, he would be killed. So, anyways, I kind of slipped him a little bit of that leftover truth serum. I gave him some fire whiskey, and I got him talking.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad, but let me know if you're gonna like have private chats with my dad now. If that's like a thing that you guys are doing.
I hope it's never again. I didn't ask him to come. He just showed up.
I think I said I'm not mad. Just like if you're gonna have private nighttime chats with my dad where you guys get drunk together.
That's not all how it was. But yes, the next time your dad comes over unannounced and I give him whiskey, I'll ring you through the tooth and say, come get chummy with us. Can I get to the point of the information that he gave me? It's terrifying.
Yeah, you can get to what you think is the point of this information.
I'm gonna table that for later. So I told him about Gilvia, and he reached out and he said that there was nobody that had magic aside from you, me, and a little bit with Sam. So I told him that she did magic in front of us. I saw it, and he said, well, then she must be able to cloak herself from the phase state.
What does that even mean?
She can go undetected? I have no idea. It seemed to really throw him off balance.
Let me do a little roll on that and see if Tag understands what that would be to cloak oneself in the phase state or why.
Sure. Before you roll, give me a little bit of flavor here. You're trying to recall knowledge you have about this, or you're trying to reach out and interact with her in some fashion?
I'm not trying to interact with her. I'm just trying to, that doesn't intuitively mean something to me. Cloak oneself in the phase state. It's more of a seeing, hearing that as if that's a suggestion that Tag is receiving for the first time of a thing that one could do in the phase state. If that
sure. Yeah, let's do investigate a mystery, but you'll be able to roll plus magic instead because this is very specifically tied to
10. Did I just lose you for a second?
I think we just cut out for a second.
Well, I heard him say 10.
I heard 10. Yeah.
Oh.
He rolled
Me.
10.
I didn't hear it then.
Oh.
Okay, you got a 10? Yeah, okay, you can ask 3 questions. And they don't need to, you can bend these to apply to the situation.
Hashtag story time. We saw how it ended. Can we see how it started? Let's see Sam and Puck getting bonded together 20,000 leagues under the sea and a long time ago.
Oh,
Should
wow.
probably wait till next week. Hashtag story time.
We get Puck back!
Okay. Yeah, for real.
Who's that from?
Yeah, we'll do it as our open next week. I love that. I'd like to give it some thought and some time. Who was that?
It was Merc.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Merc. Yeah, I'll set that up. Oh, you know what that means?
Air Dobbins.
I think we'll be seeing someone back in the flesh.
Yay.
Not just a little
Well,
space
basically, I didn't-
meteorite fluttering by our door, by our window.
Okay. Tag, what are your questions?
What does that mean to cloak oneself in the phase state?
You've never heard of anything like that. However, you've been able to just take ideas and manifest them in the phase state. But you've never had any reason to hide yourself. You have had instances where you failed rolls and alerted other things to your presence. So there is a way that perhaps very powerful magical beings like you can echolocate each other in the phase state. You have your little cerebro power. But you've never had anybody hide from you or do so successfully. And so the fact that somebody might be able to hide from Half-Dad is a red flag.
Why might someone want to do that?
If she was created by the company, it seems like they are always masking their motives.
Okay.
And if the company's now entering into the phase state, they might also be masking their presence.
Anybody want to jump in for question number 3? Okay. I think for question number 3, I'd like to, and this may be a separate role, but I'd like to just try and see if I can locate her in the phase state.
I will. Yeah, so I kind of have an idea of what might happen. I will have you do another roll, but you can pay that third question to get an additional +1.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
11.
Okay. You reach out into the face state, and at first you cannot sense her presence. But there is something out there that's reading wonky. There's been times that you felt stuff like this. Like, you remember on fire, you kind of could feel the rift and kind of guide yourself through that. Something like that. And so there's just a moment where you seem to be walking through this dark room, kind of feeling your way through. And then you hear someone say, "Can I help you?" And you turn around to see Gilvia standing right behind you, and you're in her room.
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. I didn't. So when I pop in, I'm so sorry. I think Tag tries to just step outside the door.
Sure.
Apologizing.
She actually reaches past you and pushes the button to close it. Behind you.
After I've stepped out or before I step out?
Preventing you from exiting the room.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just, I just felt kind of like a tickle, in the back of your throat. Sometimes you swallow a hair and you can't tell if it's best to try to get it up or just keep swallowing until it goes all the way down. Anyway, that's, I don't know if you obviously you have a shaved head. Is that appropriate to say that you do have a shaved head? I don't want to comment.
I do have a shaved
head. You have a shaved head. So, but you have hair on your butt. I think that's happening right now. Anyway, I just felt like a little tickle in the face. I was just walking the face state. I didn't even realize it was in your room. I'm really sorry about that. What's up?
I can see you're uncomfortable and that this was an accident. So, no harm, no foul. And she puts her hand on your chest and gives it a little push, and then you are back in Bryn's quarters.
What happened?
Yeah, something's funky. Something's funky with her.
Did you see her in the face state?
Yeah, I saw her. She saw me.
What'd she look like?
What she look like? How she looks? Is that true? You would have told me if that wasn't true.
What?
She looks the same way in the face state?
Oh, sorry. So here's what's up. You were in her room, in your body. You were searching through the face state when she said, "Can I help you?" When you turned around, you were no longer in the face state. And then when she pushed you, you fell back through it to go back to Bryn's room.
Okay. What? Yeah, so I don't know what the fuck that is, but something is up. I do not like
that. But his body was still in the room with us?
No, it would have done that little nightcrawlery blinky thing that Tag does whenever you whatever you want it to look like, Tag. Whenever you go into the face state, I kind of figure you bamf out of there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. That's a big nope on that girl. Big nope.
That's what I've been saying.
Okay, well, I'm with you. And, I would have, if I didn't have to get over the hurdle of you having secret nighttime drinks with my half-father, then I would have been with you even before this.
In her nightgown, by the way.
Yeah. That sounds like it. I don't want to blame you. That sounds like that was on him.
Listen, I don't know who that lady is, but I've also been doing some digging. And Gilvia died.
What?
What?
First of all, how come nobody gave me the memo that we were all supposed to be sleuthing? I've just been sitting around reading comics this whole time. You guys been doing sleuthy shit? Sam, what about you? You've just been chilling, right?
No, I've been following around the people following Gilvia around.
Everybody's sneaking for me? You guys gotta tell me whether it's you're having secret midnight drinks with my dad in a nightie or whether we're all doing sleuths and stuff. You gotta let me know. I love doing sleuths and stuff.
What were you doing? Eating ice cream?
Yeah, I was eating ice cream, reading comics. Reading ice cream, eating comics.
What comics does Tag read? The graphic novelization of Tough Club?
Yeah, but I think it's the like, yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Well, anyway, at least 50% of us were doing some sleuthing. And what my sleuthing uncovered is that the company, oh wow, I really shouldn't be telling you any of this. Okay, this does not leave this room to anyone. I don't care who it is. Zip.
Wait, are we just now establishing that we have a bond of secrecy? I thought that we were like a crew for like a year.
So much salt.
Do you want to fret more about the friendship or do you want to learn some information?
I'm insecure about my friendships. That's not on me. If you were...
Tag.
I won't blame it on my upbringing, sorry.
And I point to his bracelet. Okay. Just touch your bracelet to your heart, you'll feel better, remember?
We all do it.
Okay, sorry. I get insecure.
Don't get insecure. It's totally normal. No one blames you.
I get motion sick on airships.
Ooh.
You actually helped me with that.
Oh, yeah. Did I use an herb or did I use a spell?
No, you just told me about some pressure points.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I suppose I'm slightly threatened by the summoner on board.
Are we just telling secrets? Because I'll just say that I always thought that my body would develop into a little bit of a fuller, more traditionally masculine frame, but it hasn't, and I'm kind of like nearing the end of puberty, so.
Your kind go through an especially prolonged...
Sam to tag hashtag not bad.
Oh, Sam has to give Tag a compliment from Thing.
From Thing?
Thank you, Thing.
Thank you, Thing.
You know, Tag, I can't help but hear your concern about your physique. Yeah. And honestly, there's a lot of cultural confusion about size and power being equated with some sort of more prominent masculinity. And, you know, not to disregard the physique you have, but it certainly is going to make you a better rock climber. And in terms of relative strength, really, it is quite desirable. I mean, Bruce Lee, an ancient martial artist, and many, you know, monks that practice all sorts of incredible feats of strength do so through the force of their will and their focus, and not just merely muscle mass. So, if just full transparency, you're obviously entitled to your own opinion about, how you would like your body to develop, but there's no traditional size guarantee. That's a myth mostly created by the fitness industry, which is, I guess this is all just a really long way of me saying that I think you're a really incredible person, and your physique is very remarkable, even if it's not the one that you were anticipating.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. That's really very touching, man. Thank you. I know I'm supposed to appreciate the body I'm in, and I do. I just, I always tell you, like, next year, you'll get muscles, and next year your acne will go away, But anyway, that's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
What were we talking about?
I believe Rex was about to discuss something from her sleuthing.
So listen, yeah, we're a crew, but I'm, I can't exactly undo a lifetime's worth of doing everything by myself, even in a year. So, just keep under your collective hats.
I was just still feeling bad about everybody snooping, and I wasn't snooping. I just, I wasn't trying to jump on you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. anyway, the company had a whole program where they were taking these high-level volunteers and trying to make them into summoners. And well, I looked at the files, and according to the files, Gilvia died during a training accident. So I don't know who this is. I don't know if they're walking around in Gilvia's body, but at least according to the pretty high-level clearance I was able to look at, it's not Gilvia.
It's pretty risky, assuming a name of somebody who died.
And you guys saw her picture in the file too. This is her.
Yeah, gosh, I don't know. I don't want to just start throwing out guesses, but I'm not necessarily sure that this is an imposter situation. I've seen the company tap into some, I think innovative would be the nice way of saying it, and grotesque and horrific would be the opposite. But I could well imagine someone dying in their training and it not necessarily being an impediment to still being alive.
Not even be an advantage.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, so you're saying that, like, this person has been reanimated but not actually alive? Who's controlling the strings?
I don't know.
Or did they die and they got brought back?
I mean, look, this is sensitive and I don't want to. Well, there is one of us who knows what it's like to die and come back.
Oh.
Actually, there's two of us. Okay.
That's not good odds.
Yeah, we gotta stop doing that.
What do you think, Sam?
Well, you guys already don't trust her. And even the one of us who works for the company doesn't trust the people who made her. I think it's difficult to discern exactly what the non-redacted section of that document meant with her being dead, whether that is, you know, the things that logically come to mind is that it would be used to obscure her identity, but she's still being used. She's still using the same identity, so that sort of eliminates that idea. And it also seems odd that amongst the information that was removed, why her death would be included. We could always ask her.
The direct route. I like it.
Okay, but seriously, what delineates a summoner from your bog standard magicka? I mean, not that there is many of those, but like, what is a summoner without a planet bond? And for hashtags, hashtag not bad, hey dad to tag.
Hey dad!
Half dad has to compliment tag. Thanks, Merc.
Cool. Merc?
Thank you, Merc.
Thank you, Merc.
Okay. Do you, Sam, want to have a scene with Gilvia?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's, I think that the little...
Keep in mind that the company doesn't need to know that actually, they already know that I snooped, so... But I shouldn't have told you guys that. So just you know,
discretion.
Read if you can. Yeah. I trust you. You're a sneaky fellow.
All right. I want to get off Haven, so we're going to do 2 more scenes. We're going to get Gilvia in there with Sam, and then we're going to have Half Dad and Tag.
I don't want to...
Go ahead, please.
I don't want to speak for Merc. I often hear her amending her donations with something like "when it fits." So I think if we hit that, I don't know. I guess if somebody's on chat, never mind. I'm just saying. I think that there could be value to, instead of like phasing Half Dad in for a compliment and out,
putting in before the episode ends, that moment with us once we're on Silver Celesto where this compliment could happen. But Merc, if I'm wrong, truly say like, fuck no, phase him in. Say some nice shit.
You got a scene to figure it out. Sam, will you set the stage for where you'd like to approach Gilvia?
Well, now with Rex's concern about transparency of information, the question becomes, what information can I actually gain from Gilvia? What is it that I can actually, what can I purposefully enable to happen in this scene? Because it's not just like probing for information. I don't think that there's much of a smokescreen for that. Okay, yeah, okay. Sam shows up with a bottle of scotch at Gilvia's door and knocks.
Sure. She answers. She's standing there in her robes. You can see on her bed there's a bunch of books that have just been set face down. They're all open to specific pages and just a scattering of notes. And she says, "Sam, what a delightful surprise. Please, come in."
Thank you. I have both the two glasses in one hand, the bottle in the other, both like fully transparent, like in front of me. So it's not like I'm trying to hide it or anything like that. And I set them down on maybe like a desk or a table, and may I offer you a drink?
Absolutely. I could use a study break.
Great. I pop the top, pour one for me, one for her. There's, maybe two. Before I pour, I go, "Rocks all right?"
Please.
Yeah, I just leave the rocks in. Otherwise, I would have flung them out fancy style. I offer her a glass, and then I take the other.
She takes it and she says, "I know I shouldn't, but I like scotch cold." And then she smells it and then just takes the smallest sip, and you can just see her just kind of like running it over her tongue. And she says, "Very nice." And then she takes an actual sip.
All right, I just offer a small toast. Birds of a feather.
She nods, but you can see that it's clear she doesn't quite know what you mean.
I just like gesture to a seat.
Oh, please make yourself at home.
Yeah.
I'm a guest here. I feel as though I should be asking you.
Well, these are your quarters, and I am showing up uninvited and unexpected.
But not unappreciated.
Cheers to that. I have come out of curiosity, if I'm being completely honest with you, as you are, a bit of an anomaly in these times, and certainly perhaps even one of a kind. I know a little about you, but I'd be curious, who are you?
Well, I think that we could skip the rather complicated version of that question, and I could say that I'm hitching a ride because I've convinced the company it's in their best interest to obtain a seat on the Summoner Council. And as of right now, there are several vacancies that have yet to be filled.
Seems very, very reasonable. Very practical.
Yes.
Well, I myself have less of a justification for going on this trip than you do. I'm much a passenger of fate. Circumstance has led me to journey with these fellows for quite some time. It seems you are much more directed towards a specific outcome.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It is nice to have purpose. It clarifies.
Very, very commendable. The company and you go a long way back, yes?
Yes.
And they've done right by you.
Yes, they've taken care of me. I was reluctant to sign on as an employee, as they put it. I didn't feel like working my way through the ranks. I actually worked in the private sector for a while and consulted for them on many occasions. I was called in to broker several different treaties on several different planets, and most of my work was utilized for my negotiation skills, I'd say. It is why I eventually relented to become an official ambassador for the company. But yes, they've done right by me. They've taken care of me. They have deep pockets to which I've tried to find the bottom.
Well, may you never succeed in that particular mission.
Cheers, and she takes a sip.
Great. I think that's about. I think I've uncovered what is most useful. I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How would this scene end? Would it be the two of you sharing several more drinks, or would it just be the one?
Well, all right. Instead of just giving up on this, maybe I'll go one more step. Maybe I'll take another step forward, see what happens here.
Okay.
I finish my glass, and I get up to go. I kind of like straighten my shirt and Gilvia, I don't mean to overstay my welcome. How would you feel about a round two?
Sure.
All right, I pour another glass. And I go slightly less because our ice is likely melted or half as much. So you have a very striking appearance. Do you know that?
Thank you. I will take that as a compliment.
I mean it as a compliment. I've been all over the galaxy, and there's something very unique about you.
As you say this, you actually see her eyes change color just a little bit. It's very, very subtle, but it's like a ripple that circles around, and you can see it cycle through several of the different elemental colors. And she smiles.
There are so many different perspectives as we travel through time and space. And it seems like I can't quite put my finger on it, but it seems like you have a particular perspective that I've never encountered before.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret, Sam, and it's not just because you shared your scotch. Speaking of time and space, how much time have you spent in space?
I guess all in told, months, perhaps.
Sure. Now, when you go from one point to another using the void relays, you experience a week. Everyone else experiences a month. It's difficult to conceptualize what that means. But in a very real sense, you are moving through pockets of time. The system is able to age around you while you remain youthful, and you catch up to it when you can. I said that I've been with the company or consulting for them for a long time. Much of that time has been spent on a spaceship, and I've been going from one planet to the next for about as long as I can remember. And while this journey for me has only been a couple decades, there are very few faces I recognize anymore. And so I feel that visiting these pockets of time has given me a unique perspective. The elasticity of it, somewhat free from the linear aspect, does color my perspective.
Sam takes a long sip. All right, and then I guess he's gonna finish off his drink and stand up to go again. It's much to think about, honestly. You know, the actual physics behind time passing, coupled with the perception of time passing. In those moments that we find ourselves in a moment that lasts forever. Other times we find ourselves in a moment that goes by in the blink of an eye. Well, this is one of those circumstances that feels that it has passed much, much too quickly.
She's running her finger around the lip of her glass and she says, "How would you feel about a round 3?
So
Oh my God.
Sam thinks about it for a moment, does like a little, like not like a dramatic turn, but like just a slow little, almost like waltz turn back around, and then reaches over, takes the scotch, pours one out of one side, pours the other out of the other side, places it back down. Now, I must warn you, Gilvia, once you begin the third drink, some things start to happen. I must warn you. I am a cad. I can't guarantee that I might not start saying inappropriate things that, pros. It's been known to happen. No guarantee that these are memorable things. Still, a 28-year-old malt will bring just about anyone, bring the poet out in just about anyone. I have one last idea before I must absolutely kick myself out of here. When was the last time you had your shoulders rubbed?
She smiles and says, "Well, I can't remember, so I suppose that means it was just far too long ago." And she spins her chair around, and the camera fades out as Sam starts to give Gilvia a back rub. I'm going to torture you, Bryn. So,
I bet my
Anyone
muscles
chat?
feel like those metal cords, or like those metal. You know what I'm talking about? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Like very taut.
Oh, we just got a raid.
We just had our first Void Jumper sex scene.
Whoa,
What? Oh God, what? Bryn's nodding. Lisa gets it. I don't know why y'all are acting so strange.
I'm not that naive, thanks. I know what massage means.
And what does massage mean, young lady?
I've seen many TV shows. We just got a raid, FYI.
Oh, who's raiding us for our first Void Jumper sex scene?
Red Bow Robin. What's up?
What's up, Red Bow Robin? Thanks for joining us.
We're just debating whether or not there's really no way to appropriately suggest what we're finding our way, having introduced sex for the first time.
This is the way I see it. As far as I'm concerned, the veil was dropped over that scene, and we will allow Sam to define the consequences of it whenever he sees fit. But in my mind, the scene exists in Sam's brain until it exists in ours.
Okay.
Any word from Merc about when this can happen, or are we getting off this ship?
Oh, she said whenever it fits naturally within the story.
Okay, let's get off Haven.
Let's remember this episode.
Huh?
I said let's try to remember for this episode.
Yeah, I think I know when it'll happen. It'll be soon. Okay. So, these scenes all happen in the abstract of this time passing. It's just a couple days on Haven, but as Gilvia just pointed out, it is a week that passes outside the ship. And once you start to think about things like that everybody else just aged a week when you only aged 3 days, or everybody else has already aged 4 to 5 months when you've only aged a couple weeks, I think that starts to play on your mind, Sam, that Gilvia did in fact allude to being in space for decades. So
She old.
but she isn't.
She isn't.
Okay, so
She's not as old as she should be.
If I had to identify Sam's type, that's probably exactly what I would say.
What, some sort of undead barcode zombie space wizard? That's
I would say
Or
it's
just
mysterious with ambiguous moral codes.
Oh, women who will kill me. Yeah, that's.
I always thought you'd be good with kale, so that fits.
Oh, really?
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Let's read that fanfic.
Well, I will just go ahead and make sure that it's a long time before you guys find out what happened. Yes.
Oh,
I will ride that one out for as long as Jesse will allow me. You guys can just hold on.
It's up to you, buddy. I think
so
that
lucky
after
there's
that
no truth
night,
serum.
What was that you say? We got more truth serum
Are
for
you
Sam?
threatening? Are you threatening me to truth serum me?
No, it's not a perk anymore. That's what I'm saying. You're lucky that it's like not a perk.
Oh.
But also,
I'd
don't
say-
true serum your friends. That's mean.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, of course, I would never truth serum. No.
Bryn?
What? I would
Did
never
you- did you
truth serum
truth serum
my
us right
friends
now?
unless it was life or death. Okay.
Bryn has been very bad about consent. She did not get Danny DeVito's calf consent. That was.
And I
I
seem to
was
remember
cursed
you hypnotized
with
an
vampirism.
awful lot of people.
You do hypnotize a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
I hypnotize evil beings. That's different.
So here's what I'll say, Sam. After that night, Gilvia's cool as hell. She seems to just be at a place where she's respecting whatever your desire is. So she's just cool as hell and she handles it well. The day comes when it is time. Haven drops out of warp near the Void Relay, and it's a short jaunt from there to Silval Celesso. So you will not need to take the Void Jumper, as Silval Celesso has not been affected by the Malice's planetary assaults. Instead, you take one of Haven's shuttlecraft. The shuttle slips down through the clouds and over the pastoral expanse that is this moon. You are closer to the continuum than most of you have ever been, and it dominates the sky with its warm and calming glow. You fly over quaint villages and farmland, picturesque lakes and mountain vistas, and then you see it, The monastery. It is old, very old. In the design of castles long past, tall stone walls and towers and tall stone towers sit just outside a small village. Haven comes in low and lands just outside the front gate. When the door hisses open and the ramp slides home, you see there is a small crowd which is gathered to receive you. Tag, you recognize these fine folks as monks of the Parallel Order and the people who work at the monastery. Would you please just give us a taste of their clothing and accessories to let us know kind of what the style situation is here?
Yeah, it's all incredibly simple. It's kind of this robe tunic hybrid. They're in different hues, but all within this kind of like white, off-white, sort of a very within the black and white spectrum, including like some beiges, some khakis, some sort of very earthy tones.
Okay.
And they have either like a belt or a sash or a little, almost like a cloth. What are they called? Aigulets?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. They're like...
Yeah, and it just designates a different role within the monastery.
Now, moving forward, Tag, this is your place of birth and also your location of your origin story. There's going to be a cast of characters here. I don't think that we need to define in advance who is familiar to you and who is not. I will make it clear when there is a new face. This crowd of people, I think you recognize some of them. But everybody is very professional. They recognize that it's not like, oh, Tag's home. They recognize that you are now a parallel assigned to a summoner. That is what the purpose of this entire place is. And you catch a few nods of recognition, but for the most part, everybody is stoic and professional. There is a figure who is larger than the rest, and they step to the front of the group. You recognize that he's wearing the robes of the highest order, Tag. The designating features of it show you that this would be the head of the Parallel Order. And when he pulls back his hood, you expect to see a familiar face, that of your old master and teacher, but you are wrong. Instead, you see a brick-jawed fellow with close shorn hair and a long scar across his cheeks and nose. Good day, he says.
Yes.
And welcome and welcome to the Parallel Order.
Hello. It's my honor to present the company with which I've traveled, following principally heir to the summoner of the fire planet, Bryn Kosing.
A pleasure, Your Highness. Very pleased to meet you. I've heard good things.
Oh gosh. Thank you so much for having us.
He
May I also,
looks around. Sorry, go ahead.
May I also introduce two additions to our party, Rex and Sam. Rex and Sam have been with us for a long time now, and while I am not their parallel, I consider them close friends and my most trusted co-conspirators.
Of course. Your friends are our friends. My name is Steve Irwin. I've recently been assigned this posting and elected the head of the Parallel Order. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the Summoner Council, here at our humble monastery. He's looking around at you, and he doesn't necessarily know what to do next. And then, Gilvia Korgold strides down the ramp from behind you. And again, Steve Irwin, is not entirely sure how to react to her presence. But she stands tall before him, and it is not long before he recognizes that she is of some importance, and he bows. And then she looks to you, Tag, having just heard you introduce the rest of the company, and waits expectantly.
Are we to be staying overnight here at the monastery?
Steve Irwin does not drop eye contact with Gilvia and says, "Yes, of course, we'll be hosting you. We actually have a welcoming feast prepared since we knew you'd be arriving tonight."
Do you have the famous moon cheese?
As much as you can eat, my lady.
I look at Tag and I'm like, oh my god.
And I'm kind of caught between, sort of smiling and nodding at Bryn, not in a dismissive way, but in a half attention way, and continuing to look back at Gilvia, and sort of between Gilvia and Steve.
It seems like she's still waiting for you to introduce her. She's not moved.
Steve, it's also my honor and privilege to introduce the ambassador to the company, with whom we've been sharing a ship, Gilvia Lockhart.
Corgold, she says, correcting you. Gilvia Corgold, here to represent the company, and I am looking forward to observing the Summoner Council.
And I give a very, very slight to Steve, like.
Steve looks at you and then smiles and seems much more at home now and says, "Please come in, follow me. I'll lead you to the feast." And he turns to walk in. Tag, you're at the back of the pack. Everybody else, the gates are opened and the crowd kind of moves in, and then your party is let in, and Steve Irwin's right in the middle of the pack. He's pointing to stuff and saying, "Yeah, this is new since the last time I was here." And he's just kind of like pointing around. And as you're about to cross the threshold, Tag, you're the last one to do so. You do feel a presence behind you, and you turn to find Half-Dad, and he is doing one of these. And he disappears into the phase state.
I kind of phase there as well.
Okay. He says, "I needed to catch you before you go inside, Tag. I cannot enter this place."
Okay, first of all, you cannot show up in my friends' rooms at night by yourself and just fucking hang out with them, Dad.
I'm sorry, I felt like maybe Bryn and I were becoming friends.
Wait, it doesn't matter. You can't be friends with Bryn. I am her parallel. She is my friend. You are everything. I don't need to unfurl the long scroll of things that you are in relation to me, and therefore Bryn. So while you may have been getting friendly, you're not friends. You can't be. It's just weird. I need you to get why it's weird.
I can see why it's weird now, and I should have recognized that. Think about us as less as friends and more as
I don't think of you as friends at all, because you are not.
As a professional. Help me out here, Tag. Professional.
What are you? How do you think of yourself with my friend?
Look, I can see I'm not getting out of this.
No, professional what?
Professional. We are merely expressing professional courtesy to one another.
You're expressing a professional courtesy by just poofing into her dorm at night when she's not maybe entirely constituted in the way that would be decent for this kind of relationship.
I don't walk around, Tag. I don't have legs most of the time.
I didn't say walk.
I don't
I said
use
poof.
doors.
You just poofed into there.
I poof. I poof. That is how I do it. I poof.
Okay, well, it's not an excuse. You can't just be like, I am a poofer. That's who I am, as if that excuses it. You have to recognize the context, the circumstances in which that's going to be received. Look, it doesn't, you just tell me you get it.
I get it.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you do. I'm not, great. What did you want?
The next time I want to share a drink with Bryn, I'll let you know.
That. No. You need, you can't, what did you want?
Sorry. I needed to catch you before you entered the monastery because I cannot enter
Yeah,
this
blah,
place.
blah, blah. Maybe Bryn should just stay in the monastery for the rest of her life.
Look, there are ways that will allow me into the monastery in the Hall of Doors. I do not expect you to go looking for them, but if you need me, you could find me there. I just wanted to let you know that after your time here, everything is going to be different, and I don't know what that means. It seems that I was wrong in trying to anticipate your destiny, and to take that a step further, to force what I thought mine was upon you. There is a chance at the end of this, we will be enemies, but I'm no longer certain that that has to be the outcome.
Well, you weren't certain that that had to be the outcome before, as long as I did whatever you wanted me to do. How's this any different?
I realized that attaching those strings to it was unfair.
Okay.
I've unfinished business here. I thought that was behind me, but I can see now that it is the catalyst for everything that has come after it. You will learn things here, Tag, and with the knowledge you gain, you will make your own decision. I will honor my agreement. Should you choose to step through that doorway, and after experiencing what you experience, remove yourself from the malice, obtain a fully human form, I will not stop you. You will learn that I will not have much opportunity to. Once you are inside the monastery, you will be free from not only my interference, but my perception. I only ask that you give me one opportunity to discuss these things with you when you finish. And if that comes after you've made your decision, that is your choice. If it comes before, I will not try to sway you.
Okay.
Ultimately, I am only here to say that the decision is a big one, and it will have ramifications which stretch into the continuum system for a long time to come. It will not be easy, but I think you are far more suited with this responsibility than I ever was.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. I'm sure there's yeah, okay, thank you. I don't know, I don't feel well suited. Seems like you have a lot of institutional knowledge of the malice and all of its interactions. Seems like that is going to give you a leg up in navigating this next step. Like I'm not interested in continuing to be angry with you, but I am angry. That's a reality of my life, because the things that you did and the things that you didn't do, the ways that you weren't there, they do affect me. And I know that it's my responsibility to find a healthy way to move past that. But you're my dad, whatever that means. It is going to always have an effect on me. And I am just mad that I didn't have a say in it. That I didn't have the opportunity to say, you know what? I actually don't want to be burdened by this kind of psychological trauma interlaced in this decision that I'm making for the rest of either my life or the existence of the planet, as might be determined by me if I do or don't walk through the door that ends all of existence. It's a lot. But I recognize how hard it must be for you, an immortal being, to change. And I see that you're trying, and I do really appreciate it.
That is kind of you.
Working on it.
I sense that there are more pieces at play here than the game we've been playing all along. And there are new challengers entering into this final fray. Your friends will need you. Look after them.
It's just, I'm not laughing at you. It's funny because I have been looking after them. Like, you get that you were the thing that I was looking after.
I've been trying to kill them for a while. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair observation.
I'm not trying to harp on it, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, didn't think you were. That is a complete, yeah, got it. Okay.
All right.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
And he pops out of the face state. Okay. You're all led inside and directed into the main dining hall, a place you know well, Tag, for a welcoming feast. You're seated at a long table. Steve Irwin, named by chat, takes his seat at the head of this table when in walks the rest of the guests. Sylvia Korgold is there, and as the rest of you sit down, several of the teachers and higher level officials of the Parallel Order join you at this very long table as well. You then see Bryn, I think this would be a familiar face for you. A summoner enter into the dining hall in flowing purple robes. This would be Gorvain Dietrich, Ira's father, followed by his parallel, who I named Exception Vold, because I wanted it to be easy to remember. And then another summoner enters into the dining hall. It is Amelia Cossaint, Bryn's mother. And following along behind, in place of where her parallel should be, it seems she has brought a steward instead, as she has not replaced Varik. And it's Gwenig.
What?
It's Gwenig. It is obvious that Gwenig is not filling the place of Parallel. She does not have the robes, she does not have the weapons, she does not have the magic, but she is following along behind in service to your mother. Bryn. And they all sit down at this table. Yes, Sam.
Is there a chance I could? I would like to make a move in between us being led in, Tag being pulled away. I would have liked to pull Bryn aside while the huge flurry of the feast and everything were being presented. Just a moment to catch her ear.
If it's okay with you, I would say that this would happen as everyone's kind of converging on the table. These guests are entering, kind of taking everybody's attention, and you will have a moment then, Sam, to pull Bryn aside before you guys sit down. And please, take it away.
Bryn, I had to wait until we got off the ship to ensure that we wouldn't be monitored by the company, but I wanted to give you an update on Gilvia.
What'd you find out?
Okay, about a week ago, Gilvia and I spent some time together, and I don't want you to think less of me, but I did rub her shoulders.
Well, you were just being kind?
I was using something that I learned from you, which is, slightly massaging the truth.
By rub her shoulders, do you mean really rub her shoulders, or I can't wink, rub her shoulders?
No, I mean literally, I just rubbed her shoulders.
Ew.
Yeah, so the idea was that with Rex's analysis that she might be dead, I needed to actually touch her as well as communicate with her to get a sense on what that might actually mean. Anyway, we don't have much time, but this is what I've was able to come to understand. Okay, first, she's decades old, so I think she may be more powerful than we might think just based off of her appearance.
You mean more than like 3 decades old? Because I would have put her at 30.
I mean additional decades.
Oh.
So that she may be decades older than she appears.
Oh. She have good skincare routine?
It has to do with the bending of time as traveling through space. So if any of the company's experiments or any of that took place in space, it essentially would be a way to,
Oh, okay. Like how
travel.
It takes us only like a short time to jump, and it's a longer time in everybody else's reality.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, so then I guess in that way we wouldn't have to worry about her having accelerated her her learning. It would just mean that she is older, but not necessarily stronger.
One thing to note is that it would allow her to see a lot.
Right.
Because she is able to drop in to a lot of different times.
Oh.
Is kind of what she was alluding to as affecting her perspective.
Yes.
Okay.
2. The particular massage technique that I used has a very profound effect on the emotions of those who receive it. It's known as the Eros touch.
Okay. Like, does it have magic backed up behind it? Is this some of Puck?
No. This is simply was an attempt to establish whether or not she was emotionally human.
Oh.
And during our conversation, there was very much a flicker in her eyes that would indicate that there is still some sort of emotional grounding.
Okay.
Last, and you may already know this, but she intends to gain a seat on the Summoners Council as part of the to represent the company. I don't know the extent to which the council influences the summoners or the planets, but just know that her intention, though stated to observe, is not at all true. Her intention is to capture one of the open seats. So I just didn't want that to blindside you once the proceedings take place, since I honestly have no idea how you guys handle these things.
Well, I believe it has to be voted on, and if everybody knows the deal behind her, I don't think they're going to vote for it. I definitely think my mom needs to know this information. I mean, Summoner Amelia needs to know this information.
You seem like the one to.
You want me to pass it to her, or do you want to tell her?
If I will defer to what you think will be the most well received. You are a summoner. I am a Sam, and
if you're okay with it, I'll request an attendance with her after the feast, a private one, without her administrative assistant, and I will ask if you don't mind being there, if you can help me relay this.
Absolutely.
She was fond of you, so she'll trust you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing this information with me.
Absolutely, and please don't tell anybody about the massage. It makes me feel kind of icky.
I won't tell anybody, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to laugh about it inside my head every now and then.
Okay, well, let's, a little decorum here,
Can I call you Magic Fingers?
Hey, you better just...
I think we can call him the Eros Touch. You guys are having this conversation kind of in a very slow walk. You were one of the last people to be seated, and as you come around the side of the table and look up from this conversation, Bryn, you can see that Gilvia's right there, and she's saying, Summoner Cossaint, I saved you a seat. And she gestures to the open seat right next to her. Blackout.
Oh. Oh my God. So much dirt.
Oh, delightful.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say.
The Eros Touch there, Casey.
Eros Touch.
Eros Touch.
Oh man, it's amazing what happens when you open your mouth and let things come out.
That's so good.
Hey, I don't know if you guys have had a shoulder massage recently, but I'll tell you, sometimes shoulder massage is like just so relaxing. It's just real nice.
I could go for one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or a scalp massage. Sometimes those can be so good I can't talk. You just lay there and you're like, no.
You guys ever get one of those brain melters? The
don't like.
Where it's just like.
Oh no, they're so nice. The little like tong thingy, not tong, but like
itches.
Yeah.
Tickles.
That's awesome. Well, do we have a question from chat?
We do. We actually went from Sue's younger brother.
And please tell us in detail more about how the Eros Touch works.
The question
Wait,
is...
it's from Sue's younger brother?
Sue's younger brother, yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah. I agree. The question is, how did you come up with these characters?
Oh, what a wonderful question.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
Nice,
I believe this is after they tuned in to the pilot episode on VOD and then requested this question. So I thought it'd be fun to throw one in just in case they keep up with us. It'll be there.
How did we?
I mean, I can start for myself.
Go for it.
To go for it. I think for me, the idea of playing somebody who's big and stompy and solves lots of her problems by breaking things, that just sounded like fun. So it sounded fun. It sounded like something I wanted to do. And then I think as the character and our stories have evolved, it's also been interesting to me to see, originally, I think in my head, when I first thought of her, I was like, oh, she's this tough talking, wisecracking, doesn't feel anything, smooches everybody, drinks all the time, kind of character. And I think there's still plenty of those elements in her, but I think she has evolved in ways that have been very fun and interesting to play. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jesse came to me and said, do you want, I kind of had this idea of this summoner in training. Would you be interested in that kind of character? And I was like, sure. And I built some backstory around it, but I didn't find that character until Connor showed up with the ceremony that's where I found that character. 100% was in that scene. I had no idea what she was going to be like outside of that. And then just everything that he gave me in that scene just kind of informs that relationship. And then everything just kind of fell into place after that, I guess. Yeah. And just this strong, I don't know why I fall into these characters, like the strong need to prove myself outside of like royalty or title sort of a thing, like just taking a character that's really more free and not interested in the old how things are done and wanting to experience some freedom outside of that and getting into trouble. Just is so fun. It's just endless entertainment for me. So yeah.
And you have reminded me, Lisa, also that initially Jesse was like, hey, what if you were like this badass character? And I was like, cool, awesome, I love that. So also my origin story is also connected to Jesse saying, hey, what about this cool thing? And we'd be like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam was the most recent addition to the group. Sam began in season 2, and like many of the other players, Jesse was instrumental in the development of the character.
Not so much for yours. You came out swinging with this, man.
Well, to be fair, and correct me if my memory doesn't serve, but initially I was so impressed by the eclectic nature of the group and how powerful everyone was that the first impulse was to play a class known as the Mundane, which is just this. It was like a dude with like a stick, and I was like, yeah, this is great. He's got like a sharpened broom handle, and it's like and then very quickly Jesse sort of brought about the Deadpool wisdom to me of, it's like, you've just made Dopinder, where I'm like, they're like, what's your power? And he's like, courage. And it's just like in like a storybook setting, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But in like actual real life, it's like, no, you just die because everybody else has superpowers. So like maybe try something else. You don't think it's not going to be as fun as you think it is. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll make like this gumshoe guy, like I'll make it like a detective, and like I'll be able to help the group that way. And then I guess it was like, oh, maybe he turns into like a werewolf or something like that. Like that would be pretty sweet. And then it's like, all right, let's make it spacey. And then somehow Puck just kind of introduced himself as this giant, immortal purple crystal. And it was like, oh yeah, that's totally a dude. And then the personality, I have no idea what that's about. I think it had something to do with just feeling not threatened at all, feeling totally safe, that just gave Puck a good attitude. And then, yeah, the more Sam was like grumpy about everything, the happier Puck got. And then, yeah, here we are, like a year later.
For me, yeah, so much of what everyone said has resonated. I think what Lisa said is absolutely correct, that I had some basic framework in place, but the first time we meet Tad was in that scene where he and Bryn meet for the first time. And one of the things that is really cool, I think, about Void Jumpers is because it is improvisational, because we don't, for the most part, ever know or plan what's going to happen. The things that become true, the things that become the foundational pieces of the narrative and of the canon, are only that way because of impulses that happen in the moment, that we're listening to each other and someone says something and someone else responds in a certain way. And so these characters are being fleshed out and developed in real time. They're being drawn as they speak. So whatever it was about that scene, that chemistry, that just Lisa and I listening to each other, you know, we responded to each other, and these characters just grew out of that moment and continue to refine themselves in that dynamic image. Jesse, you can maybe help me out, because I don't know how I don't remember how we came to the idea of this, of inventing the idea of a parallel, or why. I don't remember.
I think it was your impulse initially. You wanted to be a squire. And much in the same way that Casey at first thought that the mundane could be fun, I steered you toward a slightly more powerful entity, just so that you wouldn't be limited by the move set. But your character, more so than anybody else's, except for some transitional elements of Sam and Puck that we have seen in the late stages of the game, was much more like iterative, because we hadn't figured out what your magic was, and as it began to cross over with Lisa's, it was your impulse to say, I don't like that, it should be different.
Right.
And so that forced us in a direction. And so I remember after the first arc, we redrew your character.
Sure.
You know, like we reset the moves. We've been talking about it a lot. Half Dad, you know, was going to be a faceless villain, a big bad that I didn't have any plans for. And you, like you were talking about, you called him Half Dad. And that term has forever altered his trajectory. And so I think that that relationship, and it forced me to think about more where he came from and you came from, and you built that. Yeah, so your character was kind of like you said, the being drawn in real time was like the editor's pulling the paper off the desk and you're still like trying to scribble on the
There's valid compliment and criticism in that metaphor.
No criticism intended.
Sure, no, I know, but I think you are correct. I think you're correct. I do remember, because I think that the things that I knew beforehand is that I knew that I wanted to avoid any kind of bodyguard, because I didn't want a dynamic wherein I was taking agency away from Lisa by means of a protector or an advisor. That we wanted to find something that was I could play in service to her moves and her choices, but also play on an independent track. And I think Lisa really offered that by creating Bryn as a character who wanted to extend the hand of friendship to Tag, thereby allowing him to sort of participate on his own. And then I remember as the season 1 was going along and we saw that Bryn could just do this like dope shit, I wanted to, we had these conversations where we wanted to really allow that to maintain a uniqueness and a singularity. And so we pulled and refocused what it was that Tag was doing into the kind of psychic sort of Jedi world that he lives in now.
One rule it seems like Jesse has applied to guiding all of these character builds seems to be the rule of cool, where at the end of the day he's like, yeah, that seems pretty cool, let's do that. And it's been so wonderful to witness each of you guide these characters in a improvised world and seem to have such grounded and focused choices being made and allowing the characters to continue to evolve. It's been a real treat, honestly.
So fun. Jesse, do you have a character you're fond of jumping into that you can talk about developing?
Yeah, I'll do just a hand wave on the NPCs of the show, especially starting around Fire Planet, the second arc. The NPCs just became more and more improvised. I would have a name and a function in mind, but then they would inevitably come out of the interaction with all of you guys. So like Zeem, like him especially, it was pulled from your guys' interest, the value that you were bestowing upon him. So for the most part, I've had some ideas like Slakta. I just wanted to make a cool lich, but her journey started out as like just being, she was supposed to just be a ghost merchant, but then I was like, nah, fuck it, whatever. I'll talk about Professor is who I'll talk about, because Brian and I went back and forth about the Professor. I was adamant. I wanted Brian to play a character who was beholden to the company, because I know that as a guy and as an actor, he has this idea of honor, and it is not necessarily stereotypical. It's like, to me, it kind of falls into the idea of Dharma, where it's like, your journey is your own. The rules of honor will be defined in your instance, and you will know what tenets you need to uphold. And so Brian has these very specific things that he keeps to honor. And so I wanted to torture him by putting him in debt to this horrible company. And then, because I knew he'd want out, but be unable to just cut a clean tie, because he would feel this beholden to the company in some way. I just knew it would fuck with him. And so I really wanted to do that. And so he and I kind of we were like, how would the company, and it's becoming more relevant in this arc, how would the company try to get magic? And so that's how his guy did. But yeah, I mean, like, you could see that whole arc, he just keeps doing stuff, and everybody on the team's like, dude, you cannot trust the company. He's like, I know I shouldn't, but I'm technically their employee.
Or when we all got horrified when he sucked the magic out of the creature.
Yeah, that was a great moment too, because I'd been kind of pushing Brian to use his powers. He's got like 8 powers he didn't use that all do that one thing. And so he was just doing what he thought he was supposed to. And he was like kind of thinking he was finally doing it. And then he turns around to see all of you like, right. Right.
Oh, yeah, it was cool. He was just like, what? This is not, no?
He's got a big heart. And so I knew that if I put him in a compromising situation, he would weigh all of his choices with the utmost consequences in mind, and try to find that way out of them without vilifying or betraying anybody. And I knew it would keep him on a tightrope, which is to say, I'm poking a lot of fun at him, but I think that he's an incredible actor and he has a huge heart. And so I just like to put him into sticky situations. Personality and all that stuff with the Professor, though, that was all Brian. I just had some hand in the mechanics. He created that character. So that's my answer.
What a tremendous question, Sue's little brother.
Yeah.
What a tremendous question.
So good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. There's a couple of thank yous we always love to do. First and foremost to Mark Thomason, who is running all of our behind-the-scenes camera work, music cues, keeping us going. Thank you so much, Mark. He's here with us every Wednesday and is such an integral part of our team. Thank you to Aaron Buman for, did we get the new graphic in today?
It is. It was at the end of the thing.
Yes.
It's kind of spooky.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it. He does all our the intro and the bumpers, and all of the music is done by Aaron, and it's incredible. So you can check out his SoundCloud. I think is linked in the Discord, so you can see the rest of his work. Thank you to Mark Workey, our incredible mod who is here with us every Wednesday and is helping
incredible
build our website. She does incredible fan fiction. I'm just gonna say incredible like 100 times because it's the best word. She's just the best. So thank you so much, Mark. We love you. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us on their Twitch channel. They have got Zoe Game Night coming up tomorrow. They play Jackbox games, super fun. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can join in their Discord, I think, is what they use for the voice. And then Monday is the Reliables with Christian and James and company, tons of great actors at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we will be back next Wednesday. Thank you to all of the people that donated today for your perks. We hope you enjoyed them and it was worth it. We will get to the story time next week with Puck and Sam. We can't wait.
And get that book. It's only on sale for one more day.
40% off!
Yeah!
It buys itself!
You're making money! But seriously, do it. And if you want to have a book club, let me know.
And if you want to know more about the Eros touch, Casey Jackson.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe that becomes a power that Sam has.
Hey, that sounds pretty cool. Let's do it. Thanks, everybody. A lot of great chat interaction today. You really carried our show. Thank you very much. We're fucking off already. I need to stop looking.